Now on CoastTV News.
Choppy waters have lifeguards on high alert. What beachgoers need to know before heading out. Silent threat. A carbon monoxide leak forces guests out of a beachside hotel in Ocean City. And a policy pivot. The White House sets new tariff rules. What it means for jobs, prices, and global partners.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Trump's trade war entering a new stage. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. The White House says new tariffs will take effect next Thursday, and the Labor Department's July jobs report has some warning signs about how Trump's trade policy is impacting the labor market. Karen Kaifa has details from the White House.
The Trump administration's new tariff plan will take full effect next Thursday, August 7th, and mark a dramatic shift in modern-era U.S. trade policy. The White House ushering in a new trade era that impacts just about every country with which the U.S. exchanges goods and services. The Trump economic team arguing Friday the trade policy protects American jobs and has been generating investment in the U.S. economy.
We're creating trade deals left and right that have unlocked enormous new potential for the American economy. The tariff uncertainty is fading away. Tariff rates are settling in.
The White House said Thursday a 10% universal tariff rate will apply to countries with which the U.S. has a trade surplus or exports more than it imports. For countries with which the U.S. has a trade deficit, the floor is 15%, some even higher. That's either because they agreed to a trade framework or Trump has decided on a higher tariff. The only major trading partners that didn't see tariff rates change Friday, the United Kingdom, China, and Mexico. The UK already agreed to a framework. China and the US still in negotiations during a temporary trade truce that is set to expire August 12th, and Mexico also in a 90-day window for negotiations. The White House, meanwhile, slapping a 35% tariff on goods coming in from Canada effective immediately. But goods compliant with the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement would not be subject to that higher rate, and experts say only a small amount of trade between the two countries will be affected. Also Friday morning, the release of the July jobs report. The Labor Department said the U.S. economy created 73,000 jobs during the month of July. That is less than what economists forecast and signals that businesses are still grappling with uncertainty around Trump's trade policy. At the White House, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Back here in Delaware, House Speaker Melissa Minor Brown and Senate President David Sokola have issued a joint statement about a special legislative session that's set for Tuesday, August 12th at 2 p.m. The session will focus on addressing concerns over the recent property tax reassessment in Newcastle County. Democratic lawmakers say they plan to consider several policy changes like payment plans and lowering late fees there. In the statement, Minor Brown and Sokola said, quote, "We believe giving school districts the ability to set separate tax rates for residential and non-residential properties will help distribute the tax burden more fairly." Well, it was a scary scene at the Ashore Hotel in Ocean City this morning. Around 11 o'clock, guests were ordered to evacuate for a reported carbon monoxide leak. Plenty of emergency personnel were on site earlier today, including the Ocean City Fire Department, Worcester County Fire Marshal's Office, and public safety officers. You can see one woman here sitting on a stretcher being checked out by EMS. We are told a total of 18 people were evaluated. 4 of those 18 sent to local hospitals for further evaluation, and 0 deaths have been reported. We did have the chance to speak with a few guests who were inside when the carbon monoxide leak happened.
We heard it go off. We thought it was a drill, but then it just kept going. And I saw 3 staff members run down the hallway. So I just grabbed the 3 kids, started to run down the steps, had my husband go get my mom, who is older, and we just ran down the steps as quick as we could.
Because you didn't know, because you didn't think you had me.
Yeah, we thought we lost them for a minute, but we had them.
Now, the Ocean City Fire Department tells us the leak was coming from a boiler on the ground floor. Hotel management says the boiler has been shut off and repairs are being made. The hotel also says that normal operations have resumed. There's some dangerous surf at our beaches, and it's only expected to get worse tomorrow. There's currently a risk for life-threatening rip currents from Sussex County all the way down to Accomack County. There was a no swimming flag up in Rehoboth Beach earlier today, and lifeguards at Ocean City told beachgoers to not go in past their waist.
So our guards are trained to spot them first of all, tell people to stay out of them, and if a person gets in trouble, to go and make the rescue. But even our guards don't swim against the rip current. They use the rip current to get out because it's like a treadmill, takes them out.
Now we're looking live into Ocean City, and we're going to turn it to our first alert chief meteorologist, Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. So let's talk more about what's happening with those rip currents. Now, what we have is we have an active rip current statement right now that this reaches up for the Lewis Beach, Rehoboth, which we just mentioned a few moments ago. But it's also inclusive places of like Dewey Beach as well as Bottom Hills down towards Ocean View included with this. This is also inclusive of Fenwick Island as well as the Indian River Inlet and all the way down to the south. Now, here's where we are with our live radar. We're very clear at this point. We're not seeing much in the way of activation or any kind of a particular system that's sliding through. But for the rest of the evening, keep in mind that we are expecting for temperatures to stay in the 60s. We're looking by 1 o'clock, 67 degrees, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies, a bit clear just before sunrise. But the winds continue to pick up a little momentum as the sun comes back up, and we'll have temperatures riding at about 72 degrees by mid-morning. And we're going to stay relatively cool for this weekend, at least cooler than the norm for this time of the year. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about that trend of cooler weather and when we're expecting the next round of rain in here, although we're not in need of it at this point, but we are starting over with a new month. So we'll also update you what's happening with what we experienced throughout all of July. But for right now, back to you, Christina.
Paul, thank you. Well, today is day one for legal weed sales in Delaware. Over 2 years after the drug itself was made legal, people can now buy it in stores. For now, only a select group of medical marijuana compassion centers are leading the rollout. For the very first time, anyone 21 or older can walk into a Delaware dispensary and legally buy marijuana.
I mean, it's been years. It's way overdue.
11 medical dispensaries, including Thrive Cannabis in Lewis, were given conversion licenses to launch the recreational market.
We've been waiting for quite some time.
Vice President of Retail at Thrive, Tim Rasmussen, says medical patients will still be the priority.
We're not losing sight of the medical community. They still take preference, and we prioritize them when they come here. We don't want them waiting in long lines. But this is an exciting time.
Recreational buyers like Alex Vavrick say the first day delivered.
The vibes were great. Like, everyone was super excited. Everyone was super helpful. Smooth action. Like all the transactions and stuff were easy. Everyone was very helpful and knowledgeable.
And Milton local Anne-Marie Brewer says she still worries about the risks of legal weed, but overall, she's glad to see the new market open.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, as long as people, A, are using it responsibly, and B, not driving under the influence. I do have some concerns about that because it's not as easy to test someone or tell when you're driving. However, I'm not opposed to it.
The state awarded 125 licenses through a lottery last year, but officials say many new shops were not ready to open today. For Coast TV News, I'm Christina DeRobertis. Let's go now to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how often do you plan to use marijuana now that you can legally buy it? Looking at the results, 66% say never. 16% say occasionally, 11% they already have, 0% on the weekends only, 7% say every day. We want to know what you think. Go to coasttv.com, use our mobile app, you can vote. Well, open land like this, what you see on your screen, it's why a lot of locals are proud to call Sussex County home. Some say they're just done with development. More development being added to Sussex County, and if you drive around Delmarva, it's something you're going to see all over. Now, that's good news for people moving to the area and also good news for the construction industry. But as Emma Aiken reports, if you already live down here, it creates a different feeling.
Julie Morris is frustrated by the speed of growth here on the coast.
It's really devastating. It's really sad.
And apparently so are another 2,200 people who have all signed her petition, asking Sussex County Council to put a 1-year moratorium on development.
People always say to me, oh, it's just too far gone. Why? What's the point? It's never too far gone until the land is in the water, right? Like, it's not too far gone.
In her petition, Morris cites concerns about the environment, preservation of farmland, and overburdened infrastructure. She wants the council to make change.
They're not doing enough fast enough. Like, we could do the moratorium like that, and then you can spend the next year figuring out what you want to do to change the zoning.
We did reach out to Sussex County Council, who say they are aware of the petition, but they don't have any plans to put it on the agenda. And they say they're already working to address growth through the Land Use Working Group. Councilman Matt Lloyd previously called for a moratorium on development in agricultural zones. He says now it's up to the Land Use Working Group, but depending on their recommendations, after that, nothing's off the table.
We'll give it till September. If we don't see substantive changes by then or good recommendations that we can latch onto that I think will help us build in a more predictable, sustainable way that's going to get us the workforce housing that we need, but stop the high-end homes in the farmland that's pushing out the farmers and consuming so much of our natural resources, then that's what I'll do. And I would, like I say, all options would be on the table for me.
For now, concerns are growing over a growing Sussex County.
And that was Emma Aiken reporting. Again, the County Council says they don't have any current plans to put this moratorium on the agenda, but some of those first few working group recommendations are expected to be drafted into ordinances in the next couple of months. And we are just getting started tonight. Coming up ahead, a rocket ride. A global team of astronauts lifts off from Florida. We have details on their mission. But first, it is Friday, so we have all your cool things to do.
And a cool forecast as well, because temperatures are in the low 80s for the next 3 days in a row in Cambridge. And not just there, but all over the place. I'll have the details for your forecast coming up.
This week, we're going to dive right in, literally, with a Southern Delaware delicacy because Oyster Week is back. Starting Sunday, August 3rd until August 7th, you can taste your way through the coast with locally grown oysters, and it's not just a food fest. This week highlights sustainable farming and those who keep our bays healthy and delicious. Also happening, Rehoboth's signature summer art show returns for its 52nd year. The outdoor fine art and craft show runs both weekend days, featuring more than 100 artists, live music, food, and a Dogfish Head beer garden. More peaches this weekend, this time in Kent County. The annual Peach Festival returns to Wyoming Saturday from 9 to 3. And if you're still in a pony state of mind, the Chincoteague Fireman's Carnival keeps the fun going through Saturday from 7 to 11 p.m. Or you can get a new pet this weekend. The Brandywine Valley SPCA is hosting an adoption event in Rehoboth. It's happening Saturday from 10 to 3 at the Petco on Coastal Highway. You can head to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do for event details, tickets, and more.
Prepare yourself for a much cooler couple of days in a row before the humidity and the heat kicks back in. We'll go through the weekend, probably the early part of next week. Right now, our DryTech camera, Ocean City, we're at 72 degrees, and we're going to stay in the low 70s. We'll drop to 70 degrees even, or proper, as they say in some places, by 3 o'clock in the morning. For July, listen, we had about half above the norm, half below the norm as far as the temps are concerned. The red, that's about 16 days above the norm. The blue, that's about 15 days below the norm, 31 days, only 1 day above more. Now, as far as the precipitation is concerned, we really started picking up more precipitation after the 19th, on the 27th, and on the very last day, to the point where we exceeded the normal rainfall total for the month, like by 3 inches. That's pretty impressive. 67 in Millsboro right now, 67 right now, Georgetown. The winds gusting out of the northeast with a 23-mile-per-hour wind gust being recorded at the Indian River Inlet. And with the winds coming out of the northeast, that's going to keep that cool feel in the air. Dew point temperatures also dropping. That's another hint as to why it's going to feel cooler. You see, we're in the 60s right now. Typically, that'd be a sweltering situation. But since we've been used to 80s and 70s, upper 70s, this feels like a cool day. And when these 40s filter down here, it might actually feel, dare I say, chilly. But for right now, we're in the comfy zone for the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, and really going into Wednesday till we become humid once again. The winds will help it feel cooler as well. You see, small craft advisory, watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds along the entire coast, Ocean City, all the way down to Chincoteague, and we have a beach hazard also has been issued, along with another small craft advisory. This beach hazard, by the way, over here throughout Ocean City, that means we're watching out for beach erosion. Add to that concern for rip currents along the beaches, particularly for us along a good portion of all of the Sussex County beaches. Keep that in mind. Now, with rip currents, I want to remind you of something. That's when the rip currents pull you out deeper than what you expect or anticipate. And this is, unfortunately, exactly the same thing that contributed to the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, the guy who played Theo on The Cosby Show, who recently died from a swimming accident. That's what happened to him. He was caught in a rip current, reportedly. So don't fight the current. Swim parallel to the shore to escape the current. If you can't escape, float to tread water, and you need help, ask for it. And wear brightly covered uniforms so they can see you a little bit easier. But that concern goes all the way down through Ocean City as well. So not just the Sussex County beaches and high pressure controlling our weather. So for the weekend, it's sunny. For the early week, it's going to be dry and pleasant. So take a quick look. We're looking at 80 for the high in Georgetown, 82 in Cambridge for the high, and then we're expecting a high of 79 in Berlin, Snow Hill, and Pocomoke City. Coast, inland, and eastern shore in the 80s with partly to mostly sunny skies. For the highs in the 80s for Saturday. Sunday, we'll bounce around in the lower 80s briefly to upper 70s. That should probably do it. And the dew point temperatures dropping into the 50s. That's why it's going to feel almost chilly for some areas. And our chances of rain stay diminished for the next 4 to 5 days in a row. We may see a passing sprinkle or two, but nothing that's looking like a solid bet. Finally, here's a look at the 7-day forecast. And we are going to be cool for the next few nights in a row.
Got it. Thank you, Paul. Well, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is shutting down. This is the organization that funds local NPR and PBS stations. The announcement comes after President Trump signed a bill that cut $1 billion in federal funding. The Trump administration has long vowed to cut funds to the organization, which the president claims is biased against the conservative point of view. The NFL and ESPN have reached a major agreement in which ESPN will get many of the league's top media holdings. According to The Athletic, the NFL will get equity in ESPN that could be worth billions of dollars. Under the deal, ESPN expected to get access to Red Zone, NFL Network, 7 more regular season games. The deal would require additional approval, which could take a year. On Friday, SpaceX launched a 4-person international crew into orbit for a 6-month mission to the International Space Station. SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, lifting the company's Dragon capsule into orbit. It takes roughly 15 hours to get to the ISS, and the crew includes 2 NASA astronauts, a Russian cosmonaut, and a Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut. Well, President Trump says he is moving U.S. submarines as a warning to Russia after its threat over President Trump's deadline to end the war in Ukraine. NBC's Andrea Mitchell has more.
Overnight, with Ukraine saying new Russian drone attacks on Kyiv killed 28 people, including 3 children, President Trump increasing the pressure on Russia to end its war, posting he's moving 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, following what he called highly provocative statements from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. After Medvedev called Trump's deadline for Russia to end the war in 10 to 12 days a threat and a step towards war between Russia and the U.S.
A threat was made by a former president of Russia, and we're going to protect our people. He was talking about nuclear. When you talk about nuclear, we have to be prepared, and we're totally prepared.
It's the first time Trump has issued a nuclear threat against Vladimir Putin, who threatened to use nuclear weapons early in the Ukraine war. U.S. intelligence said he was not serious. But Monday, Trump slamming Putin for continuing to escalate the war.
I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him.
Trump did not say whether he was repositioning submarines with nuclear engines or subs carrying nuclear-tipped missiles. The location of all submarines is top secret. Now there's only a week before his deadline for sanctions against Putin's top trading partners, China and India.
Also in political news, wind-related energy projects are being blown away by the Trump administration. On Wednesday, the Interior Department's Bureau of Ocean Energy Management said it was rescinding large sections of ocean that were going to be used for offshore wind projects. The new move impacts nearly 4 million acres of federal waters, including areas off the West Coast and here in the central Atlantic. It's not clear what immediate effect this would have on wind farms planned for the Delmarva region, which are the subject of ongoing lawsuits right now. Coming up in sports, we head to No Limits MMA to see how this coach makes an impact on and off the mats.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
August is officially here, and that means school is getting started in some parts of the country. Now, when it comes to COVID-19, recent changes to federal vaccine guidance have left many Americans confused about the latest policies. According to new survey data, some Americans are concerned about access to COVID-19 shots this fall and whether their insurance will cover the cost. The poll found that most adults in the U.S. don't plan to get a COVID-19 vaccine this fall. But the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has said that the COVID-19 shot will no longer be recommended for healthy children and pregnant women. It is World Lung Cancer Day, and this year alone, the American Cancer Society estimates there will be nearly 125,000 deaths in the U.S. from the disease. Now, while awareness and screenings have helped to decrease the number of new lung cancer cases and deaths, there's still a lot of work to be done. And in tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has 5 things to know about the disease.
In recent decades, the U.S. has made strides in the fight against lung cancer, but the disease continues to be the #1 cause of cancer deaths in the country.
Whenever I discuss it to patients or to the community, they're always shocked by it. They're like, I thought it was breast cancer, I thought it was colorectal, because they always get the attention.
Dr. Panaghi Scalia-Santos with the American Lung Association says that's why continued awareness is key in continuing the decline in lung cancer deaths. The first thing to know, anyone can get the disease, not only people who have a history of smoking.
While tobacco use still may be the #1 cause of preventable cause of lung cancer, the smoking rates in the United States have fallen drastically, but lung cancer incidence has not.
Next, while it's still the deadliest cancer, the survival rate for lung cancer has increased by 26% the past 5 years. Third, lung cancer screening is available, but only about 16% of those eligible are getting screened. Fourth, if you or a loved one is diagnosed with lung cancer, get the tumor tested for biomarkers. It can help determine the best treatment for you. And finally, disparities remain. The State of Lung Cancer report shows people of color are less likely to be diagnosed with lung cancer early when it's more treatable. They're also less likely to be alive 5 years after diagnosis and more likely to go without treatment.
What I will plead with any individual is, if you have smoked in your lifetime, talk to your doctor, and he or she can discuss if it makes sense to screen you.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In sports, the Washington Commanders are one step closer to returning to D.C. On Friday, the D.C. Council voted 9-3 in favor of the $3.7 billion stadium deal. The stadium would be built on the location of the old RFK Stadium in D.C., where the team played for more than 3 decades. They have played in their home games in Landover, Maryland since 1997. Now, the council's final vote is scheduled for mid-September.
I just wanted to put on a show, man. I didn't care if I won, if I lost. I just wanted people to smile and cheer, man.
Give a round of applause for Sheldon Game Time Nahal.
Sheldon Nahal, 4-6 in his MMA amateur career. He said he likes the vibes of the Eastern Shore area. That's why he's staying out there. Likes the way they support small businesses. And he said his goal is he wants to open his own gym in Cambridge, Maryland. And that would be something that he would look forward to do.
Just over a year after Nyhoff was featured in the main event of Stellar Fights 57 in Harrington, Delaware, he completed his goal. No Limits MMA opened its doors in Cambridge last September.
I was just able to take all that and now put that into my game and bring something that the Shore has never seen. You know, that was like a full fight environment. And so like here it's like I've noticed a lot more relaxed on the Shore, which is cool, but it's like to be able to bring a niche thing here is what I like being able to do, to be able to blend all the martial arts together.
Nyhoff's vision of opening an MMA gym always revolved around Cambridge, not just to teach students of all ages and backgrounds his sport, but to help unlock personal development they didn't know was possible.
Control over my emotions, honestly. A lot of people come in here and it's therapeutic to just slap, bump, and roll.
For Delmarva Sports Network, I'm Ian Nicholas And this is
No Limits MMA!
Coming up next, a rock icon remembered on what would have been his 83rd birthday in the street now bearing his name. San Francisco city officials had a ceremony earlier today to rename a street after 60s rock icon Jerry Garcia. Today would have been the legendary Grateful Dead guitarist's 83rd birthday. Tens of thousands of Deadheads are expected to be in San Francisco to celebrate the band's 60th anniversary. The Grateful Dead formed in San Francisco in 1965.
Yeah, I'm actually old enough to remember their music. Oh, why? That's how dated I am. All right, here we go. Laurel, 66 degrees. And Chrissy is over there going, oh, how old are you now? Right. 66 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Our mosquito meter, we're going to be at a moderate level for the next couple of days. It's not going to be as humid, so the mosquitoes should tap down a bit for us. Lisa Laudenslager of Millsboro, you're our umbrella giveaway winner. Congratulations. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. It's just a call away, 443-880-9100. Your forecast, just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. High of only 80 degrees on Saturday, then 81 on Sunday. But that's not the big story. The big story is look at the overnight low. 62, 61, 62, 67. That's going to stay cool for a few nights in a row before we start warming back up, really going into next Sunday and Monday, not this one.
All right, got it. Thanks, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can find some more local news plus local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 6 p.m. Have a great night.